like I mentioned.
Yeah, you see, you put it well, because when you talk about earthquake, because mostly you find out that yeah, the magnitude of the earthquake is it's always, when it comes to Haiti, you know, it always hit hard. You know, that's why you find out, you know, infrastructure being destroyed, so many things, and then when they start recovering, you know, and then another disaster will now hit. So I believe that contributed to the issue of poverty that we are talking, because looking at it from the years that we will say Haiti got her independence, you start comparing.
Yes, the development, the rapid growth.
That is it. That is it. But if you look at it, once you talk Haiti, people begin to think of how to send their support to the country based on what is happening. So I believe that really contributed to what they are going through. But we're praying that as soon as possible, they will get over it.
Even though it's not as bad as it seems, you know, there's normal life. It's just that these are some of the issues that they are facing. Even deforestation, which we'll talk about later. But I would like us to look at the agricultural sector of the country, which is the largest sector of the Haitian economy.
Mostly, you find out that the people are mostly farmers. They engage in agriculture, which you find out that it contributes a lot to their GDP, you know. And then looking at it, the setting is my own personal perception. You know, Africans, you know, we are farmers. We are known with that. So being mostly descendants from Africa, you can easily connect that with then involving in farming, even though farming is a global thing. You know, it's just that every country has our own way of doing. Some do mechanize, you know, like in the foreign organized setting, they do mechanize, and then in part of Africa here, normally is the manual thing. Not all do, but it really helped in their GDP. And then you find out that mostly the crops that they produce include cassava, plantain, banana, corn, that's maize, yam, sweet potato, and then rice. And they are very good in producing coffee too.
And it's one of their main cash crop. And we should not forget that the Haiti soil and fishing zones are threatened, just like we mentioned, because of the earthquakes. You know, that's why I was trying to explain the loss, you know, in the economy. Because if the soils are threatened, and they are mostly farmers, and their soils are threatened, you should know that, okay, to contribute to low GDP, to contribute to low economy of the country. And also if they are fishing zones, because they are also fishermen, like they enjoy fishing and all. If it is threatened too because of the hurricanes and so many problems, then that means it will contribute to the poverty rate of the country too. So it's important to note that, and you should know that, okay, this is the economy of Haiti and how it's been affected by these natural disasters. And just like you mentioned, that many of them involved in agriculture: cassava, plantains, banana, corn, yam, sweet potato, and rice. And some of these foodstuffs are sold in rural markets and along the roads. It reminds me of Nigeria. You know, we have this in common, where you see along the road, these are sold, and from the pictures you even see how they are well placed. When you just see it, you think, okay, this is a country that you can relate with, or this is a country that maybe you've had experience, you know, just because, okay, it's being practiced too in your own country. And these are activities that they involved in, you know. This is the corn production. This is plantain. Yes, this is plantain, and we've seen so many of those. This is another farm. Okay, I think this cassava, even though I don't know.
Cabbage.
Okay, cabbage.
Looks like.
Okay, I'm not a farmer though, but since you say it's cabbage, I agree it's cabbage. But this is definitely plantain.
Yes.
Yes, you can see it because I love plantain, so I can identify plantain. Even though I'm waiting for the picture of sugarcane, but I can't see any of the picture.
Yeah, sugarcane being the second major cash crop,
Yes.
in that country, aside coffee.
Yes, aside coffee. The coffee is one, sugarcane is second. And since 1970, Haiti has been a net importer of sugar. It's expected if they produce sugarcane, if sugarcane is the second cash crop, then it's expected that yes, they can derive, they can get sugar from it. And sugar, is a global food where you can import, export, and get some money and even boost your economy from it. Imagine the things that they have, all these assets. I will call them assets because they are things I can easily export, coffee, sugar, and even maybe sugar cane. Well, let's talk further on Haiti. That's the forestry aspect because they're suffering from deforestation and all.
Okay, just permit me to read this. Deforestation in Haiti is a serious problem that began with the high need of fuel for processing sugarcane during the French colonial period, and then continues to present
present day.
Continue to the present day with an intensified demand for charcoal for fuel in that country. So political instability and poor funding have been a serious obstacle to affect to the efforts to reduce the dependency on forest for fuel. So they are known, and if you look at it from their geographical location, you will know that when you talk about forestry, definitely Haiti will be mentioned. But you look at it, we mentioned sugarcane being the second cash crop, and the process of the stages of processing sugarcane to the final product that we normally take as sugar.
Do you know the processes?
Yes, I have an idea, because I
like I said, I'm not a farmer, but I would like to learn on it.
You're supposed to go back to the farm.
Okay, I've never been there.
Because I'm opportune to stay around Savannah, which is somewhere in Adamawa State, Lafia, Lafia Beriberi, to be precise, where Savannah Company is located, and then is in Northeast, very close to Gombe, where I come from. So I have an idea, the farming, from tilling the ground, from planting, it's normally a swampy area that you can find, and then
waterlogged.
Yes, very vast. That even the planting normally is it has to be a mechanized way. If you want to do it in an industrial, you want to give it an industrial approach, it has to be a mechanized way, whereby you find out that tractors, are the ones planting and then tilting the ground. And then
I always admire how the sugarcane
plantation.
the plantation, is there's how it's just beautiful. I can't explain.
And when is that green, and then maybe you are expecting close to when you're supposed to harvest. You look at the plantation, you see how neatly it's being done. Even the watering system, the way it's being channeled is so amazing. But at the end, there's a way they go about it. That's when the issue of energy comes in. They have to burn the plantation first. I always wonder why the fire, because after everything, when it's done, they want to harvest, they have to burn the entire farm. Then before the tractor we start cutting it. So even if you are taking it, you find out that the taste is somehow different because of the fire,
the smoke too.
yeah. So I have the idea, so I know that. So you see, in this situation, deforestation in Haiti, definitely they need energy. So they have to cut down trees, and then to create energy to process this sugar cane. So in just summary, that's just the idea that I have when it comes to dealing with that. And then from there, after cutting, you have to take it to the company. You know, the machine have to mash and then extract the
sugar.
The sugar. And then from there, the processing continues. Back then, normally because of the fire, you know, the sugar normally have to come brownish, like that. But I by now they have improved the process. Now it is white, so I don't know what exactly. But then you know Savannah sugar with that brownish whatever. And we keep asking. We thought maybe is but the issue of the fire I think is involved too. So that is just that, and I believe that is affecting them now, because they have to go through that in order to push one particular crop, which is the second, you know, in the country that is contributing to their GDP.
Okay, thank you for advertising Savannah sugar. I hope they give you a fact check. Well, moving on, I would like us to talk about the fishing aspect of Haiti. This is one aspect of boosting the economy. And from the study, you will know that goats and cattle are the most common livestock in Haiti, with smaller numbers of pigs and horses. And there is some other poultry production. Then Haiti have not really exploited their fishing resources. Like we mentioned earlier, the fishing zones are threatened, you know, and because of the post-independent practice of living in the interior too, you know, they've not exploited that. And again, the threat of the French invasion, you know, just like you mentioned how they got their independence and how the French used to, you know, invade into the country. And Haiti has depended on agriculture rather than fishing for substantive survival. And there are some fisheries, however, in small ponds and various canals throughout Haiti. So their energy is not their energy is more on agricultural aspect. That's the plantation we talked about. Plantain, cassava, yam, rice production, more than the fishing aspect of it. That's of the farming. Then, although most fish boats are small and poorly equipped, the potential for a commercial fishing industry does not exist. The north-flowing currents of the coast of Haiti carry major migration of such deep-sea fish as bonitos, marlins, sardines, and tuna. And just imagine that this is done in Nigeria. Sardine that is so expensive right now, you know, the tuna fish, and all. This is a way of putting more energy in this and exporting. I'm always talking about exporting because it's a business angle of a country where you can boost your GDP. And you know, if you're involved in this, is an activity in a country as a whole, you know, to bring up employment to people, to the youth, to other citizens of a country.
And then, you know, you talked about fishing, and then we are looking at activities, you know, in the midday. You know, you talk about the agriculture. Particularly, you find out that mostly the activities are between morning to afternoon. You know, when you talk about market, you talk about fishing, even though we know there are pattern of fishing that normally takes place in the night. You know, but we're looking at the engagement of the citizen when it comes to, you know, participating, whether running the boat, you know, fixing the net,
and casting the net.
casting the net, you know, and dressing the fish. You can name them. It's a chain of activities when it comes to issue of fishing. And then that's when you will see people from a particular community are really involved, you know, and then are making life easy, because they run these things in order to make end need, you know, for themselves, and then, like you said, for the country at large, as a part of their own contribution to their GDP.
Yes.
And I believe, you know, that is really helping even the setting, because we have established why the issue of poverty when it comes to Haiti, you know, looking at when they got independence and then how they are struggling now. So you can see activities that normally the people are engaging themselves in order to help themselves.
As humans, we have already, there's a structure already, you know, the high, the middle, and the low class. Then the structures are more put in the urban, except maybe you want to develop a community, maybe a rural community. You know, you start thinking about access road, you start thinking about water, you start thinking about electricity, you start thinking about a lot of things, but it's easier to just start an organization or put up a structure in an urban setting where all of these things are found. So in Haiti, development or interest and attention is mostly on the urban area of the country, and the living conditions too in Haiti in rural areas show higher poverty rates than in the city. In the city, poverty rate declined between 2000 and 2012. However, they remain the same in rural areas, which often receive less help rebuilding after natural disasters and less access to basic amenities. Just like I said, for example, let's say maybe they are easily affected by the natural disaster. If it is happening in the city, or if it happens in a city, it's easier for the people, the authority now, to come up on board to see how they can restructure that place because it's urban. But if it is in rural, the less effort is made, you know, to come up on board and start restructuring and
you know, so you can see this is the low that we are talking. You know, this is more like a slump. And you see this level of destruction, and then you begin